What if I told you that the biggest message Johnny Depp is sending right now isn't in a courtroom and it's not even in a movie? It's on his hands. Yes, his rings. Stop and think about it for a second. Have you seen them lately? The skull designs, the thick silver, the big, almost brave look. They don't feel random. They don't feel like simple fashion choices. They feel on purpose. If you've been watching the drama around Johnny Depp over the last few years, you already know how crazy everything has been. His name has been everywhere. News stories, social media fights, courtroom coverage, fans, haters. It's been a wild storm, but there's the part most people are missing. While everyone was watching the legal fights and the media mess, Depp was quietly sending a message. Not with words, not with press statements, but with style. Those rings might actually be a warning to Hollywood. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Now let's start with something important. Johnny Depp has never been the clean, classic Hollywood leading man type. He's never been about sharp suits and perfect red carpet smiles. From the start of his career, he leaned into something different. Scarves, tinted glasses, layered necklaces, old jackets, and of course, rings. He doesn't just get dressed, he builds a look. He builds a mood, almost like he's creating a character every time he walks outside. Think back to Captain Jack Sparrow in Pirates of the Caribbean. The Curse of the Black Pearl. Remember the beads in his hair, the little charms, the rings, the layered crazy pirate energy. That wasn't random. Depp reportedly helped create many of those details himself. Headed personal touches. He cared about the small things. That tells you something important. He understands symbols. He understands visual storytelling. So when his rings seem bigger lately, it's probably not by accident. Now let's talk about timing, because timing matters. After the very public legal fight with Amber Heard, something changed. His public appearances felt different. The vibe shifted. There was less Hollywood polish, less effort to look like a regular movie star. Instead, there was more rock star energy, more thick silver, more dark imagery, more bold pieces that almost screamed for attention. It felt like a message. Almost like he was saying, I'm not playing by your rules anymore. Some of his rings have skulls and darker designs. Now, in rock culture, skulls don't just mean darkness. They often stand for survival, strength after hard times, a reminder that you faced something really tough and came out alive. When you look at it that way, the meaning hits harder. After everything he went through in public, wearing symbols of strength isn't subtle. It's powerful. And here's the bigger picture. Hollywood loves control. It loves clean images. It loves predictable stars who fit neatly into easy boxes. Studios spend millions keeping up reputations. They like stability. But Depp Hasselway's been unpredictable. After losing big movie roles, including being cut from the Fantastic Beasts series, many people thought he would adjust, soften his image, play it safe, rebuild in a quiet Hollywood-approved way. Instead, he leaned further into himself. He worked more on smaller projects. He spent more time in Europe. He toured with his band. He showed off his art. He showed up at events like the Cannes Film Festival with confidence, not apologies. That's not the behavior of someone trying to beg for a Hollywood comeback. That's the behavior of someone building a new path. And when you see the rings in that light, they start to feel less like decoration and more like armor, like a shield, like a reminder that he's still standing. Let's not forget something else. Depp isn't just an actor. He's deeply connected to music. He performs with the rock group Hollywood Vampires alongside legends like Alice Cooper. Rock culture celebrates rebellion. It celebrates being yourself. It celebrates not fitting in. Heavy silver rings are almost part of that identity. They are bold. They are unapologetic. They are not subtle. So when Depp walks out covered in rings, it's less about being a Hollywood movie star and more about being a rock artist who answers to himself. That shift matters because it shows independence. Now here's something interesting that most casual people don't think about. In fashion, accessories can act as identity anchors, especially during times of public change. When someone is rebuilding their image, they often lean harder into personal symbols. They amp up what feels real to them. It's a way of saying, this is who I really am. Depp has said in interviews that he feels most comfortable when he's not shaped by Hollywood expectations, when he's not forced into a polished box, when he's not being told how to look, how to speak, or how to present himself to fit a marketing plan. And if you really pay attention to the pattern over the past few years, it lines up almost perfectly. There's been a clear change. Less studio-driven big movies, less dependence on massive Hollywood systems. After stepping away from big movie worlds, like Fantastic Beasts, he didn't rush to sign another urgent franchise deal. He didn't jump into the next superhero movie. He didn't try to lock in another billion-dollar brand to prove he still belongs. Instead, he slowed down. He moved toward projects that felt smaller, more character-focused, more personal, more European cinema style. His involvement in Jeanne du Barry was a big signal. Premiering the film at the Cannes Film Festival wasn't just about promoting a movie. It felt symbolic. Cannes represents artistic cinema. It represents filmmakers who care more about story than money. It represents creative freedom. Choosing that space says a lot. It suggests he's moving toward places where the art comes first, not the box office numbers. Then there's the music, more shows, more time on stage, more touring with Hollywood vampires. When he's playing guitar alongside artists like Alice Cooper, he's not acting, he's not playing a role, he's just performing. Music doesn't come with studio contracts controlling your image in the same way big Hollywood films often do. On stage there's rawness, imperfection, energy. It's right there in the moment, and you can see the comfort there. That's another clue. And then, there's the style, more personal expression. He hasn't toned it down to get back into mainstream approval. He hasn't simplified his look to appear rebranded. If anything, he's leaned further into his layered, silver-heavy, rock-inspired look. The scarves are still there, the tinted glasses, the rings, the individuality. That steadiness tells you this isn't random. It feels on purpose. It feels like someone choosing being real over being accepted. And when you connect all of it, fewer mega franchises, more European projects, more music, more unfiltered style, you see a clear direction. He's not trying to rebuild the old version of his career. He's building something that fits who he's now. Not the polished Hollywood mold, but the version that feels real to him. Even during interviews promoting Jeanne du Barry, he stayed true to his style. No big image overhaul, no sudden clean-cut change, no slick Hollywood reset designed to signal, "I'm back and I'm playing it safe." He didn't show up in a perfectly tailored simple suit with a stripped-down look meant Torresure Studios. He didn't trade the layered jewelry for a plain watch. He didn't swap the tinted glasses for a polished, normal businessman look. He didn't try to look like a carefully rebranded leading man made by a PR team. He looked like Johnny Depp. The scarves were still there. The silver was still there. The slightly mysterious rock and roll edge was still there. It wasn't over the top for shock value. It was steady, familiar, on purpose. That consistency matters. Because when someone is desperate to fix their image, you usually see a visible change, a softening, a careful reintroduction. But this didn't feel controlled. It felt grounded. It almost feels like he's saying, "You tried to define me. You tried to erase me, but I'm still here, and I'm doing this my way. Not louder, not angrier, just steady." And sometimes quiet confidence is as more than any dramatic comeback ever could. Now, let's circle back to the question we started with. Are their earrings a warning? Maybe they're not a threat. Maybe they're not aggressive. Maybe they're a reminder. A reminder that he survived the storm, that he didn't disappear, that he doesn't need to come back to Hollywood on anyone else's terms. And here's where it gets even more interesting. There are rumors of more independent projects in development, more roles outside the regular studio system. If that keeps going, this won't look like a comeback. It will look like a reinvention. And reinventions are powerful because they are controlled by the person at the center. Let me ask you something. If your whole career was shaken up publicly, if your reputation was debated by the whole world, would you try to squeeze back into the same system that turned on you? Or would you build something different? Would you play safe? Or would you double down on who you are? That's what makes this so interesting. The rings may seem small, just accessories, just silver and metal. But sometimes the loudest messages aren't spoken in interviews. They're worn, they're shown, they're repeated again and again until people start to notice. And now people are noticing. When Johnny Depp steps out today, he doesn't look like a man asking for approval. He looks like a man who already made peace with losing it. And that changes everything. So maybe the rings aren't about Hollywood at all. Maybe they're about identity, survival, independence. Maybe they're his way of saying, I'm not going anywhere, but I'm not coming back the same either. And that might be the most powerful message of all.